Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kristin with Mobile Mama Chiropractic. And today on the Doula Diaries, we have Jenny Ervin with Intentional Childbirth. So, Jenny, take it away. Tell us all about your doula business.
Hi, like you said, my name is Jenny, and I have been a doula for many, many years, and it's a huge passion of mine. It is anybody that knows me personally knows that I light up like a Christmas tree whenever anything birth and babies comes up. I am definitely a birth junkie and just love supporting mamas through the wonderful journey of both pregnancy and childbirth and beyond. And so I practice here in the upstate and have been since 2018. And but I've been a doula for much longer than that. I always say that I was born a doula, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. If you have questions you want to ask me.
So, if somebody wants to use you as a doula, do you do home births, hospital, birth center? Where do you fall with all of that?
Yeah, I do all of them. I love the home births and the birth centers, but I will say that the majority of my clients are hospital births.
Okay.
But I do them all. They all have their individual beauty, and I really, really enjoy all of those options.
Awesome. And then what does that look like if somebody wants a doula? When do they start working with you? What does that process look like? Is there any postpartum support in that? Or is that like if they want it? What does all of that look like?
Yeah, so basically, I love it when my clients come to me very early in the pregnancy. I have clients that have actually contacted me before they even got pregnant, and they have interviewed me and decided that when they did get pregnant, that they would have me as their doula. I love the earlier the better because a doula is not just for labor, but can also be such a support and such a encouragement throughout all of pregnancy, answering different pregnancy questions. Of course, a doula is not a medical professional, so we're not going to be answering those questions that your nurse or doctor should be. But just being like that older sister or that mother that can come alongside you and be there for not only the physical things of pregnancy, but the emotional support as well. So, but I have had people that, contact me at the last minute and say, do you still have an opening? I'm looking for a doula. And it's never too late. It's never too late to hire a doula. I haven't had it happen yet, but I would be willing even to have somebody that called me to say, hey, can you come to the hospital right now? It's never too late when you make a decision to have a doula. So my services, like I said, not only begin in pregnancy, but then throughout the labor and delivery. And I am a very firm believer that no matter the length, no matter how long or how short your labor is, your doula should be there for the whole duration of it. Now, I've never had to call in a backup doula, but I know that if there were to be a 3-day long birth where I was not able to give my best, then I could call in a backup doula. But so far, the marathon birth the length of time that I have had as my longest birth has been 3 days.
Okay.
But I stick with you from the very beginning all the way through. And then afterwards, I offer postpartum visits as well to come and to help you physically with any needs you might have in your home. I have put meals in the freezer before. I have gone on postpartum visits with my clients before that just want somebody to help them, maybe as they're just getting out for the first time. They need some extra help with their baby as they're going out and about to their appointments. I've done that. Um, and just emotionally, again, being able to process through what your birth and labor were like. Many times moms just need to kind of decompress from that because maybe their labor and birth didn't go exactly how they wanted, or maybe it did, and they just want to process through that. And so I'm there to support them emotionally through all of that as well, helping with breastfeeding, helping with sibling adjustments, and yeah, the whole gamut.
Awesome. So, why did you become a doula in the first place?
Well, I have been passionate. I always say I was born a doula because from the time I can remember, I was passionate about birth and babies. When I was 16 years old, my mom got pregnant with my little brother, and she had done everything the standard medical route with my sister and I. And so all these years later, she wanted to do natural, and so I watched her study and I watched her educate herself when I was 16. And then she allowed me to be a part of the birth of that baby, of my baby brother. And I think that was the catalyst that really just sprung me into the birthing world. I thought as a teenager that I wanted to be a midwife, but I never was able to fully get going on the training that I had enrolled in with that. And then, as my husband likes to say, I became a full wife instead of a midwife. And I got married and started having my own babies. And I have 8 children. They're now ages 26 down to 10. And so I had many years where I was either pregnant or breastfeeding. So
Mhm.
that wasn't the time to actually get officially in the doula world at that point because I was so busy with my own children. But
Okay.
anytime any of my church friends or any of my family relatives, anytime anyone was pregnant, I would be assisting them, doulaing them, even when I was not an official doula. And
Okay.
then it was in 2017 when my youngest son he was just about to start kindergarten, and I realized that life was changing for me, that I wasn't up anymore in the middle of the night with babies. I had older children in the house that could help take care of my younger children if I got called to a birth. And I just realized that now was the right season for me to get back into the birth circle. And that's when I went ahead and officially certified as a doula and started my practice.
Awesome. That's such a good experience having that many kids, that many births that you went through yourself and the years of
Yes,
feeding and just all of those stages. That's so helpful in this work.
absolutely. And I was able to nurse all of them. And I actually I had two birthing center births. I had 5 home births, and I had 1 hospital birth with an epidural. So I've had basically all of the different experiences that you can have when it comes to birthing a baby.
Were they in that order?
Yes, my 2 birth centers, then my 5 home births, and then my last one was in the hospital. Yes, it was in that order.
Nice.
Yeah, and 3 of those home births were in the water.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
All right, tell us about any type of specialty or additional services you offer.
So I also, as well as my doula services and postpartum services, I also do offer childbirth classes.
Okay.
And I am working, it's a long-term project for me to have an online comprehensive childbirth course that
Okay.
my clients can take at their own pace through the computer.
Mhm.
But right now, I don't have that finished yet. And so, at this moment, I do personal childbirth classes.
Okay.
I come to your home, and it usually lasts between 3 and 4 hours. And I do a comprehensive childbirth class that is specifically tailored to you and to your specific needs. So if you want to spend a little more time on one area versus another, we can do that.
Okay.
I also offer them virtually for those that are not local
Okay.
through Zoom classes.
Nice. That's awesome. And so what does that look like? Kind of taking the parents through like what labor is like and laboring
Yes,
safely.
I start from the very beginning with even with your choices of whether you have the baby in the hospital or whether you have the baby at home or at a birth center. I go over, the pros and cons of each of those. I go over the last part of pregnancy, some of the discomforts that you might have,
Mhm.
and some remedies for those things, and some suggestions for you as you're ending the final stage of your journey in pregnancy. And then we go over the stages of childbirth and the different phases within that. And I seek to educate so that this is not a scary experience. This is not an experience that is unknown, but that you actually understand the technicalities of what is dilation, what is effacement, what is actually happening during these different stages of labor. And then we go through comfort measures and the importance of relaxation and breathing techniques. And then we also go through postpartum, the importance of your postpartum care. And then we even go through newborn care.
Okay.
And some of the basics of what's normal for newborns and what is not. And yeah, so I try to have it be very comprehensive from start to finish, so that my goal is that you really feel empowered and educated in your choices.
That's so important because the first time so many moms are like, I just don't know what to expect. And
Exactly.
even once you have one baby, you don't necessarily know what to expect. And
Yes.
continuing to learn and be prepared, it helps it not be frightening because when something's unknown, it's automatic. There's like a little bit more fear there.
Absolutely. And that's actually why I named my company Intentional Childbirth,
Okay.
because having had the range of natural childbirth to an epidural, I really wanted parents to feel like they have choices that can be intentional, and they can make decisions. One decision may not be the same, may not be right. Let me start over with that. The decision you make may not be the right decision for me, but it's the right decision for you. And I
Absolutely.
did not want people that felt like, well, I want to have an epidural, so does that mean I don't need a doula, or does that mean that I don't need to prepare? And my desire is, no matter what decision you make, that it's intentional.
Mhm.
So whether you desire to have a natural birth, and you can have your options, and you can know what those different options are and how to have the best birth you can with that natural birth. But if you aren't having a natural birth, you still have options, you still have decisions, you can have a very intentional birth. So
Absolutely.
whether you're in the hospital, whether you're in a home birth, all of those decisions can be ones that you are empowered to make for yourself.
That's so true. I love all of that. People need to be aware of their options and
Exactly.
have somebody educate them because you really don't know unless somebody can walk you through it. Like, you don't know what you don't know until
Exactly, exactly. And
hey,
I think sometimes you can have childbirth classes that are either very vague, like Lamaze classes where they're expecting you're going to get an epidural, or you can have natural childbirth classes that don't leave open the door that you might want an epidural.
mhm,
And so that's why my classes are for those of all the different decisions. Just make them intentional.
yeah. I love that intentional childbirth.
Yes, yes.
Why do you love being a doula?
Oh, why do I love being a doula? To me, birth is one of the most miraculous, most amazing journeys. And I just feel like being able to be a part of that, I feel so privileged. I feel like when someone lets you in to that moment when they are welcoming their newborn into their life, it's a very sacred moment. It's a very special moment. And so I get to be a part of that circle. I get to be a part of that very, very special time. It doesn't feel like work to me. It feels like to me, just being able to be a part of a team
Mhm.
that is welcoming this new life into the world, and there's just nothing like it.
Yeah, definitely doesn't feel like work. I've been
No.
invited into a couple of birth spaces to adjust the moms in labor, and it's a really incredible experience. There's one I can think of where I waited on the baby to be born because you could hear things progressing pretty quickly after. I was like, I'm just gonna wait.
Yes.
And it's a really cool experience. If you've never experienced it, once you do, you will totally understand.
Yes, and it's addicting. It's like you just get this baby high, this new life entering into the world. It's a miracle. And I'm a Christian, and it just to see God's work at hand is just incredible. And being able to have any part of that just feels like such a privilege.
Such a privilege. All right, tell us something fun about you.
Something fun about me. I crochet, but I'm not very good at it. Um, I can be a little bit silly, and sometimes I'm up for crazy adventures. I sing and am very passionate about music. Um, but really, my passion is my family and my 8 children. I have 3 grandbabies now and a fourth one on the way, and that is for me my pride and joy. It's just an incredible opportunity, and I was able to be at one of my grandchildren's births, and that was really amazing. Yeah, so um, I'm pretty fun loving. um, and can be pretty clumsy.
It's funny, you gotta be careful stepping off those curbs then.
Yes, yes. But I'm a heart person, and so I think that's what makes me a good doula is that I enter in empathetically to the experiences that my clients are going through, and I really do walk beside them in a very empathetic way.
I love that you have a huge family. I'm an
Yes.
only child, and I think because of that, I want a bunch of kids just because it was always like very small, and like only a couple of us. And like I want this like big, huge family that
We
it just seems like so much fun.
It is crazy now with all of my children, so many of them being grown now and having spouses themselves, and then you bring the steady boyfriends or the girlfriends, and you add those in, and you add in the grandchildren, and you add in, and it is truly crazy sometimes. We have big family gatherings, and it's almost overwhelming, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
And it's so much fun, especially as everybody starts to have kids, all the kids get to
Yes.
run around and play
The
together.
cousins all can play together. Yes, it really is. It's a lot, but it's our hearts are very full.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. What advice do you have for our audience?
What advice do I have? If you are considering a doula, don't consider any longer. Go ahead and make the jump because whether it's me, whether it's anyone else, you will not regret having a doula in your birth experience. There's really no situation in birth where a doula is not an added benefit. And I would suggest you interview more than one doula because it's not like, I mean, you can have 10 different doulas and they can all be just as experienced and they can all be just as excellent in their work. But you need to personality wise click with that person. You're going to become very close to that doula. I always say, my doulas start out as clients, but they end up as friends. And you really do want a doula that you connect with that feels like your older sister or that feels like that mother that you can't have there. You want to feel like you having your really good friend there at your birth with you. So I always say, interview different doulas and make sure that your personalities jive with each other because um, that is so very, very important.
Absolutely. Just like you said earlier, it's a very sacred space that you're inviting somebody into. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know,
And if you're not comfortable, then that will impede your labor.
absolutely.
Whereas, you have to feel really, really good about your team. And you have to feel that you're really meshing with your team, that you work together well. And so one doula that's just as trained, just as good, may not be as you may not click as well as with another doula that you just feel so comfortable with.
Absolutely. So important. But especially that fear aspect in labor. If there's any type of like uneasiness, you need that comfort with the person in that space with you.
Absolutely. I always say that a doula is like a Sherpa. Um, if you were going to climb Mount Everest for the first time, you would not rely on watching YouTube videos, and you wouldn't head off to climb Mount Everest with your YouTube videos in saved on your iPhone. You would hire a Sherpa, and the Sherpa has been up and down that mountain many times, and the Sherpa knows the journey. They know when you need to rest. They know when it's dangerous to rest and you need to push forward. They know how far you are from the top. They know what the view is like when you get up there. So I always say a doula is like a Sherpa, and you need a doula with you through your birth journey.
I love that saying. That's good. All right. What either events or offers do you have going on, or how can our listeners connect with you?
Well, if you go to my website, intentionalchildbirth.com, I have a lot of free items there. If you sign up for my newsletter, I've got free birth plans. I've got some other freebies there on the website. I also have an offer that if somebody has been on, has been on this show and you mention this show to me and you choose me as your doula, I will throw in a childbirth class for free. I have different packages, and one of my packages is without childbirth classes, and one of my packages is with childbirth classes, and of course that's a little more expensive. But if you mention this show and you hire me as a doula, I will throw in that childbirth class for free. So that's a pretty significant discount.
I'm typing that real quick. Let's see. All right. Perfect.
That's perfect. Yes.
And I will make sure that I include all of this in the comments. So I'll put this blurb in there about that. I'll make sure I have the link to your website so people can just click on it and get over there to see all of those freebies. That's huge, having a birth plan to download, because so many people, like, they don't know where to start. Or you can Google really generic ones, but a birth plan coming from a doula and a mom and a grandma,
yes,
I would assume, is very comprehensive. So that's going to be.
I also have on the doula page, I have what is a doula PDF that kind of goes through what, a little bit more of what a doula does and explains a little bit more in detail about that. You can also email me at jenny@intentionalchildbirth.com with any questions or comments or anything that you want to get in contact with me for.
Perfect. I will make sure that is in the comments also when we post this video. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I loved connecting with you. Before we got on this chat, I'll let our listeners know Jenny is often in the birth center here where I'm located inside of Celestial Midwifery.
Yes.
Her name, haven't been able to run into her. Reaching out to me, asking if she could be on the Doula Diaries. And of course, you can be on the Doula Diaries. So I'm so glad that you reached out to me and we were finally able to connect.
I'm so glad we were able to connect too. I hope that we can actually meet face to face maybe one of these days in the birth center or somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. I will talk to you soon, and hopefully I will actually see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.